Kamen Rider GHOST is about a guy who gets murked and then he has to collect all the ghost demons to revive himself. Now, the show would like me to tell you that he has a time limit to do this, where if he fails, he's kinda dead for good. However, the issue is, by around episode 12, he already fails the time limit and he gets a second chance because why not? This is the beginning of my problem with Ghost. It starts in the beginning, and it just gets worse from there. In this video, we're going to deep dive on the rest of the issues. And just to clarify something, before anybody in the comments tells me this, I understand that Ghost is a kid's TV show at the end of the day, and that's perfectly okay. It's just I think it fails as a kid's TV show as well. I mean, it fails as a TV show, period. And there is no disrespect to anyone involved on the writing team or anyone behind the production. There is no disrespect to the actors and actresses and everybody involved. Hell, I mean, the head writer of Ghost wrote Saber, and I love Saber. It makes me wonder, and who knows really what caused Ghost to go as wrong as it did. And if you're a Ghost fan watching this, all the power to you, bud. It's just I think it's bad, and want to rant about it. You do you. With all that being said, let's just get into it. Like I mentioned before, the main character is supposed to be on a time limit, but gets a second chance because he's nice or something. Whatever, right? He dies as a ghost later on, which makes it even more confusing, and is brought back because he gave a girl a flower one time and it made her really appreciate it. I'm not even memeing you, that's the actual plot. He gives her a flower one time so she's able to revive him from the ghost state of being dead back to the ghost state and not fully alive. Now, you might say, oh, that's just generic anime, shonen stuff. And yeah, fair point, you glorious commenter. However, what made that scene unbearable is that the guy in the lore who knows everything and set up everything looks at the girl trying to revive him and goes, wow, whatever they're doing doesn't matter, I don't know. Gee, thanks, Mr. Lore Master. So cool of you to say it doesn't even make sense in lore. And God, is that Ghost's biggest problem. Nothing ever makes sense. Characters will be introduced and all of a sudden have a twist with no build-up. I mean, the main cast gets proper arcs, but the villain of the week arcs? Nothing. Things just happen, and Ghost is now fighting monsters, and oh boy, there's 50 fucking episodes. That's another issue. See, 50 episodes aren't bad when a show feels like it has stakes and something is building up, but Ghost never felt like that. I mean, sure, initially with the time limit before it got reset and before he got revived as a ghost after dying as a ghost, it was good. Those first 12 episodes weren't bad, but then the rules don't actually exist, so why should I care? Why care when the guy who can explain the plot doesn't even know what's going on? So without stakes, what about heart? What about the message? What about the characters themselves? Let's get into that, because I have some things to say. Okay, let's start with the message, right? Does Ghost even have one? I'm not even memeing right now, because I honestly can't even see a message in Ghost if it has one. Is it friends are important? I mean, that's generic as it comes, but I guess that's something you can read from the plot. Ghost only gets his final power-ups when the Ghost Demons decide they like him for whatever reason. He's cool, so I guess he gets power, but maybe that's why it feels dumb. The main character doesn't really do anything to warrant everybody loving him and trying to save him and giving him power, including the Ghost Demons. But they all just love him, so he gets the power and beats the bad. It just all feels unearned. So the only lesson I can see is that having friends is important, which I guess it's a message. Sure. What about the characters, though? Honestly, that's the best part. While the flower scene from the scientist lady is contrived beyond belief, she is a fun part of the show. Same with the monk and the painter and the Mozart monster. The side characters were all amazing and the most enjoyable part. But that's the problem. 28 episodes in, they kick the cool monsters off the side cast because we can't have good things and fuck us, right? So maybe the message is to choose really good friends, because the main character definitely did. Last but not least, what about the heart? What about the soul? How hard did those emotional scenes hit? Did it leave a lasting feeling? Do I think about Ghost for the rest of my life? No. God no. Fuck that show. And maybe it was because the guy I was binging it with decided he needed to drink half a bottle of wine around episode 35 to even finish the show. Maybe it was because the emotional climax was ruined by a contrived plot. Maybe it was due to not having stakes or rules. Maybe it was because the protagonist wasn't as fun as any of the other main characters in the franchise. And maybe it was because the main character didn't talk to the ghost and his toys for 30 episodes, creating massive plot holes when they reveal he could do do that all along. Without heart, a solid message, a good content, or even a plot that makes sense, it's safe to say that this show even fails as a children's TV show. Now look, I know that you guys think I'm being super harsh for no reason, so let's talk about one of the biggest problems with the second half. You know, the main character starts talking to the ghost that he uses for transformations for advice. But this isn't brought up anytime before, and it's kind of implied he could always do this. So why didn't this ever happen before to try and solve the plot? Why is this coming up after episode 30 and not before? Why were the ghosts mostly without personality for the majority of the show other than the episode that they're introduced? A common theme starts to happen where you think, wow, this would have been really cool if introduced much earlier. I mean, hell, the sister of the main character and the secondary writer transforms and gets her own suit for all of 5 minutes because she gets the shit knocked out of her and then she's tied up and out of the plot for the most part. Wow, thank you, that was really cool. I was actually hyped to see that. Thank you, Ghost. Thank you for ruining another good thing about your show. And you know, it's just why? Why introduce her that late and just to write her out? Why not build up to that and make it tragic? I mean, I don't know, but the frustration from these questions is enough to make me roll my eyes at that scene. And oh yeah, did I just say that the main character, secondary writer, and his sister are all related? Yes. The number of times the show points to this I could count on one hand. The amount of times it's actually relevant to the plot I could count on a single finger. You know, Kamen Rider GHOST is just a feedback loop of issues. As the plots connect and intertwine, it just highlights the show's problems, and it only gets worse the more you watch. You know, this is a season I won't be rewatching, and that's kinda sad. I love Kamen Rider. I've been watching through the entire franchise, and I've got a lot of things to say about it. There will be a lot more videos about the series coming, but Ghost is just so bad, and it really sucked, because, you know, I was told originally that Ghost and Wizard are the two worst Kamen Riders. And you know, I didn't like Wizard initially, but after a second watch through, I really love it. And I started Ghost with that attitude, that I'd love it like I love Wizard. But it just doesn't happen. It's just bad. It's an insult to Wizard to compare them. It's just really shitty, man. Ghost could have been good. There's so many plot threads that were just good, but they were execution-wise mishandled to all hell. Anyway, if this does well, I'll make a video with more complaints, because holy shit, the backstory with his dad just sucks. There's a lot to say about that. A whole entire video's worth. So give it a like, spread it around, like, comment, and subscribe, because this show, it needs talked about more. It needs talked about. This is the worst Kamen Rider, period. And this is Reborn Pyro, signing out.